Mary Millben, who was born and grew up in Oklahoma. She is the daughter of Michael Millben, a Baptist and Pentecostal minister. Her mother, Althea Millben, is a classically trained soprano and a retired Pentecostal music pastor. Mary started singing at the age of 5 in the children's choir at Wildwood Christian Church in Oklahoma. She is not only an American singer, she is also an actress and media personality. She performed for 3 consecutive US presidents, George W. Bush, Barack Obama, and Donald Trump. In 2010, she was nominated for Helen Hayes Award. She is the founder and CEO of JMDE Enterprises, and she is featured in the online series Impact Now. In August 2020, Millben performed of India's national anthem Jana Gana Mana for the 74th anniversary of India's independence. Dear friends, let's put our hands together to welcome Mary Millben in tonight's Star Darbar.
Welcome, my friends, and Star Darbar. Yes, tonight the star, the rocking star, Mary, is with us, and we are really superbly excited that she is here. When I first met her in November, and I felt because we all saw her singing our national anthem in front of the president, and when she started singing, I felt like what I'm listening, is she really in front of me? And like that goosebump feeling and all that. But then I'm like, yes, she's here. And then suddenly she started singing Om Jai Jagadish Hare, since it was the Diwali event. And I was like, oh my God, what I'm hearing. That was beautiful, Mary, and welcome to Star Darbar, your Star Darbar, actually. Thank you so much for being here.
Well, it's great to see you, my dear, and hello to all of the Mana TV family and audience. I had such a wonderful time with you and Mana TV when we were in New York last November for the All-American Diwali. What a wonderful event it was, and it was so great to meet you. So thanks for having me with you all tonight, and hello to all the audience again.
Absolutely. My friends, Mary is not only a singer, she's an actor, she is a humanitarian, so many things that we have to talk about tonight. But, Mary, a very common question that I really want to ask you, and I want to start this thing, and I know that hundreds or thousands of people asked you this question already, that how you started, or I can say that, have you ever thought of becoming a singer or an actor while you were studying, or you were maybe thinking that I want to be somewhere, but you never knew that you would be here? So how that thing happened?
Sure. Well, I tell you, it's a long story, but in the short, I'll give you the short version. I really credit my days, I credit my career starting as a singer really to my origins in American politics. Of course, I grew up singing in the church. My parents are retired ministers, so we grew up singing there, and I did study music in college, but I really credit the start of my career in Washington, D.C. At the time, I was a young staffer working for President George W. Bush and First Lady Laura Bush. And, I was just right out of college, and I had my sights set on going into a career in public service. But, things shifted. And so after my appointment for the administration ended, I got lucky and I got cast in a Broadway show that was opening in Washington, D.C. at Arena Stage. And that was the origin. That was the start of my career, certainly in Broadway theater. But that really went on to be a fluid career as a singer. And so it's a little unorthodox, but that's kind of the trajectory of my life, I will say. Nothing really normal or traditional certainly happens in the context professionally, but it's what makes it fun. It's certainly what makes it every day is a different day, I would say. So I really do. I credit the beautiful days and memories in Washington, D.C. as really the start of my career. And I think there are three people or three entities that I would credit. First, God, because He gives us our gifts. I certainly credit my parents because they were the ones to really foster that desire to sing. And then again, thirdly, I credit Washington, D.C. It was Washington, D.C. put bread and butter on my table, certainly in my beginning days as an artist. And it certainly has sustained me through my career. So I've been very, very blessed, very blessed.
That was so sweet. That was really, really nice. Tell us one thing, whenever you start anything first time, that there are so many things, right? Have you ever thought that, well, I am like trying this out, so will I ever be there? Like, was there any goal in your mind, or you just started like, well, I'm happy. I love singing. I'm here, guys. Okay. So how was your thinking about it?
Well, I tell you, I'm a dreamer. So I would say, as a little girl, if you were to ask what was the little Mary like, I'd say she was a dreamer, and I have sustained to be that. I constantly dream and constantly shoot for the big, and then let life take its course. But I would definitely say the origin of a lot of certainly my ideas and starting new things, to answer your question, it really comes from a place of two places, I would say. One, vision, and two, faith. To achieve great things, to fulfill your dreams, you got to have a vision. You have to at least see what you're going to do, and then believe it can happen. There's a great scripture. Of course, I am a woman of faith, and so I certainly will probably allude to certain things in our interview, because it's hard for me not to talk about my faith in the context of my life and profession. So I certainly don't want to offend anyone, but let me just preface by saying that. But in the scriptures, there's a great verse that says to write the vision down and make it plain. And so I always encourage folks, when you're starting new things, starting a new career, a new business, a new relationship, whatever it may be, start with the vision. Get a clear vision of what it is that you want to do. Write it down, make it plain so that you can see it. And then the second thing is attach your faith to it. Many times when you're starting new things, and certainly if it's larger than yourself, and it always should be, it sometimes is hard to perceive, or hard to get your hands around. So you have to have that combination of a clear vision and solid, energized faith that can come together to certainly produce your dream. So that's how I approach new things.
Well, that was a fantastic answer, but one thing I think that every artist go through, that is a challenge with themselves, how to do better, like you were just saying, like focusing to it, right? Or like determining yourself, or from your mind that, okay, I'm here, I want to be there, or these are the things that I want to do. So the focus, and I can say those challenges, how was it in those days? Do you loved it, or sometimes you felt like, no, I'm gonna leave it, but then you were like, no, I'm here, back again? All right. So how were those days?
Well, let me be honest. There were some hard days, no question. The life of an artist is it has highs and it has great lows. So as any profession does. So I'll be honest and say there were certainly some tough days where I didn't know how I was going to pay bills, or I didn't know what my next job was, or there were some tough days. But again, I think it's that energy, the combination of having a clear vision and having faith. You have to keep that as the current of your life when you're going through a life as an artist, when you have so many challenges, changes every day, and certainly as it relates to what you do next. And so I had some tough days, but I'm grateful for those tough days, I'll say, because they made me a stronger person. I learned some great lessons that have certainly shaped my career so that I can be a better artist and certainly make better decisions as new opportunities come along the way. And you know, I tell you, my dear, I had great mentors. You know, I was very blessed with the trajectory of my journey, having highs and lows, to have great people who believed in me, who helped me make better decisions, and certainly supported me in my desires to dream and do new things. I was very blessed and still blessed with great mentors and great people who helped me along the way. So, you know, you have to go through the process. You have to, as an artist, but also as a human being, I'll just say, you have to live a life as a student, constantly learning, constantly absorbing, constantly letting yourself go through the growing pains of life, and finding the best in all of those seasons of your life. And so I think that has certainly sustained me through the ever changing life of being an artist.
Mary, one thing is coming in my mind that, um, like, uh, you are a born artist because um, only to learn music and pursue that with passion and love, there are two different things that I believe. You can be a student, you can become a singer, but a singer and a performer together, it's a very deadly combination. I think it only comes if you're really passionate for that, you really love it, and then only you feel it, every words in it, every, like, all the rhythms gets inside you, that's what I believe in. So tell us one thing, that um what part of your life, or any time that you really want to let our viewers know that, hey guys, this was my turning point, and from here I felt like that the new Mary started living. Was there any time that you can really specify, um, or talk about that a little bit?
Yes, well, and that's a great question. It's quite meaty, so I'll try to keep it short. But
No, no, you can be
right,
elaborate.
right,
You can
right.
put your emotions in it, because we're all artists, and we really cannot control our emotions, and you should not. So please.
Well, I'll tell you, there's probably two moments that I can definitively say these were turning points in my life. That certainly were turning points in my career as an artist. The first was when I recognized this dual life of entertainment and politics was going to be my profession. I have such a love for the policymaking process and the scene of Washington, D.C., for the good that it does for mankind, both in the United States and certainly across the world. And I have such a love and passion for what music does. Music is a universal language, so you can go anywhere in the world and you can play a song, or you can hear a symphony, or you can see a piece of art. The arts, music, it's a universal language. And so I found myself going back and forth between these professions for years, over and over and over, and they were overlapping so much. And so it was when I realized that this energy was not going away, where it gave me my sense of purpose, that this is what I was called to do, that my life, certainly with the origins of my life in American politics and now my career as an artist, how those worlds and hats and energies overlap, that is part of my purpose. And however I can use my passion for making a difference in the world through my hat as a public figure in American politics, and how I can make a difference wearing my hat as an artist and having a platform to help bring good through the vehicle of music, that is what I'm called to do. That pivotal moment really came when I started to sing at a high level in American politics, singing for certainly President Bush, singing for President Obama, singing for President Trump. and certainly having a fluidity still to this day in American politics. And so that gave me a real sense of purpose. So that was the first moment I would say that was the shift. The second actually is recently, as recent as last year. I had some life changes that happened in my life that certainly influenced the trajectory of my professional career. And those changes really honed in a bit more on that sense of purpose and certainly what I am called to do. This is probably the first time I'm going to say this publicly. So Mana TV and the Mana TV audience, you get it for the first time before anybody else does. But I made a decision that, or rather that decision was made for me, I'll say from a higher power, a higher energy, what we call God the Father. But I know that my life as an artist, as a singer, what I have been able to humbly do through the vehicle of entertainment is headed to a life in public service. That after my days of singing has ended, I know that I want to take up the next energy and mantle and serve my country in elected office. And so that I haven't discussed publicly yet, so you all get it first. But I know that is the next season of my life after, and I'll never stop singing. I certainly will never stop my love for the arts. But I know that this life has been, it has been a foundation for moving into elected office and continuing that inspiration and serving mankind in that way. And so I tell you, it's been a really humbling journey, my dear, to be able to have a dual life in these two different worlds, but find one commonality, and that is, how can I serve humanity? That's the goal of being an artist, in the context of how can you speak truth and tell stories and help inspire through music. And that is certainly also the life of a public servant. How can I shape policy? How can I look at challenges across the world and develop things in a better way that benefits all people? Both lives, both worlds, both platforms speak to how you can help humanity. And that certainly, those are the two major shifts, I would say.
Wow. Okay. So a dreamer, a thinker, a passionate lover for music, and someone who really want to change not only her life with a fantastic purpose, but want to change others as well. Wow, that's a great vision. Well, tell me another thing now. So I think that whenever you were when you were a child, you used to listen to music, isn't it?
Oh yes. All kinds.
So now tell me, why haven't you ever thought dancing a little bit also? Have you ever thought?
Say it again.
No, I'm just saying that, have you ever thought like dancing as well? I mean, like not only singing, but dancing as well.
Well, I tell you, I love to dance. I won't divulge any private dancing moments in my house because I may embarrass myself, but I do love to dance in the living room. Dance in the house. But I tell you, I love dance. I love, when you hear a great song or a great drum beat or a great melody, it gets into your soul. And I tell you, it's one thing that I love about the Indian culture. I love the films. I love the dancing, the breakout dancing that happens in the middle of a film, certainly a Bollywood film. But I love the dancing. It's so joyful to watch, certainly in the Indian films. But I love dance. In fact, I studied dance in college. I was a tap dancer and did modern dance and ballet and all kinds of forms. And so I love dance. I love going to see performers. I love going to see the ballet. I love Avon Ailey, of course, in New York. I love the spirit and the energy of dance. There's so much joy, certainly, in dancing. And of course, we grew up in church dancing, in the context of the spiritual energy. So there's so much joy in that.
Yes.
I don't think a purpose to be a dancer, later on in my life, but I'll dance in my living room
Of
all day.
course, of course. Yeah, yeah, of course. Because I think that the singing and the dance, it like all together because like everything is based on the tune and the rhythm, So
Yes,
if
yes.
yes, exactly. So it like all right, so it's like keeps you going. But tell us that who was your favorite singer when you were in your teenage, like when you were a teenage girl going to the high school. So who was that person like you felt like, oh, I want to become like her or him?
Yeah.
So who was that?
I tell you, I would say that the posters that were on my wall growing up as a young girl,
Uh-huh.
definitely, I would say first my grandmother and my mother, because as a young girl, they were my favorite singers. My grandmother
Uh-huh.
and mother sang all over the world, certainly before they became full-time moms, but they were my favorite singers growing up. But I would say that the posters on my wall were Barbara Streisand, who I love, Aretha Franklin, who of course I love, Shirley Bassey, of course, who I love, Ella Fitzgerald. Those were the ladies. Diana Ross. Those were the voices, the ladies that I loved and wanted to certainly emulate in the context of their artistry. But then Pavarotti was on my wall. I think he's the greatest male singer to ever sing, of course. But I loved Pavarotti, and I loved, Stevie Wonder. I loved so many. There was just so many artists, and all for their uniqueness. Those were artists and folks that those who have passed, and certainly those that are still alive. But they were artists who they 100% knew their voice. They knew their calling. They were not afraid to be their own person and their own voice. They weren't trying to carbon copy. They weren't trying to emulate anybody else. They were very clear about who they were, what their sound was, the messages that they were supposed to sing, the joy that they were supposed to bring into the earth through their gift. And that is why they were some of the greatest artists and are some of the greatest artists of our times. I can probably throw Michael Jackson in there too, because he was certainly one of a kind in every aspect. But I think as a young child, we just loved music. We just love artists. So I could talk all day about all the posters on my wall, but I particularly gravitated to artists that were 100% clear about who they were. And they were 100% clear about their voice. That's the one thing that I, as an artist, constantly push is be true to your voice. Be true to who God has called you to be, because we have enough people trying to copy and emulate other people. There's only one you. And so stay true to that and let the uniqueness of your voice, the uniqueness of your gift resonate across the world. Because if you do that, then you'll be someone's poster on their wall for sure.
So, Mary, as we are talking about your childhood, the poster in your wall, I still remember my sister used to do the same thing. She had her favorite, yeah, she had her favorite actors and name it. My mom used to she used to get angry, like it's all over her wall, her closet door, like behind the closet door, it was there. She will go and take a look and like, oh, okay, I'm so happy you guys are here. So it's really like a nostalgic time for that age, that time, that your favorite artists, favorite things, and all those posters. Yeah, it was really fun watching her. I can really feel that in your voice as well. So
Yes. Well, and I forgot one too. I said I better mention Judy Garland, because she had the most posters on my wall. So she was my favorite of all. I tell you, she was. There was no voice that could match Judy Garland. No screen artist or film artist who could match her. So
yeah.
I better throw her in there before I forget. So.
Got you. So, these days there are so many shows happening to encourage young artists, right? Which we missed when we were in that age group. So, what do you think about that?
Well, I tell you, I every person has their own road, has their own, journey to fulfilling their dream, and certainly in the context of being an artist, there's a diversity of avenues. So, I know that there's a lot of emphasis certainly on a lot of the reality TV shows, the music shows that you can go on and sing and compete and become the next star, or there's the traditional trajectory of just singing organically in places across the country, and hole in the wall places, to getting into concert halls, to building a life, traditionally. So I never have a negative thing to say about any of those avenues, because every person has their own journey to their dream. What I will say is, whatever avenue is chosen for you, you should certainly learn the fundamentals of sustaining yourself as an artist. I think sometimes in the reality TV shows, while you're learning the mechanisms of the business and artistry and things like that, it's a more fast track to becoming certainly on a larger platform than the traditional route. I think what's very important for any artist to understand and certainly learn is learn the business. Learn. You got to have a good lawyer, so that you're in good contracts and taking care of your responsibilities. You got to have good manager, good teams, good infrastructure that can certainly help you grow and move higher and higher through the seasons of your life as a professional. You really have to see yourself as an artist, as a business, because that's what we are. We are a product being certainly shared with the world. But I think those things are very important, that you have to have the fundamentals of the business, and not get lost in some of the stardom or desire to be famous that sometimes can come through the energy of some of these reality shows and things like that. So, but those shows and those diversity of platforms have certainly started beautiful careers. I've had many friends go through American Idol, go through The Voice, go through some of these shows that, at the origins of the shows, that now have, huge careers. And so I just think you have to, stay true to your journey, and however God is bringing you into your gift, stay true to that. And that's a different avenue for everybody.
Friends, we're talking with Mary, and it is really hard to stop. And but the time, I think, it's not enough for one day, and I think that we have to back again next week with her. What do you think? I think that will be better, right? Because we have so many things to talk. So, Mary, I think that we're coming back next week as well, and why not we talk about something different than singing in that episode? Do you agree to that?
Absolutely. I'm an open book, so you pick the topic, and I'll be here and ready to chat with you.
Absolutely. So, friends, next week, do not miss Mary again in your favorite show, Star Darbar. And I would love to welcome you one more time. And we will talk about her acting and, of course, the thing she is doing as a human being. So please stay well, stay safe, and we'll see you again next week. Bye-bye.